Please welcome to the stage the Chief Administrative Officer of Bank of America, Mr. Steve Boland, the President, Preferred and Consumer Banking, Bank of America, Mr. Aron Levine, and the founder and CEO of Operation Hope, John Hope Bryant, with a great conversation.
That's yours, huh?
Either way, that's fine.
All right.
Hello, everybody. Oh, come on now. The Bible says be hot or be cold. If you're lukewarm, I'll spat you out. Translation, even God is not like mediocrity. Good afternoon. That's more like it. We are honored to have all of you here for this continuing conversation of meeting the moment. This moment, I believe, is historic. I don't think that we're going to appreciate this moment for 20 years. I think it's going to take us 20 years to look back at this and understand and appreciate it for what it was, and everything we do in this moment matters. And I'm particularly honored to have two difference makers show up here today. When I hear the titles rattled off, they don't seem to underscore the magnitude of any of these conversations. It's hard to put this stuff into words. This afternoon, you're gonna, I think after this session, 2 sessions after this, you're gonna, or maybe it's next session, you're gonna hear from, as an example, Tony Ressler. Now, if you just saw Tony Ressler walking in the hallway, there's no security details, nothing with him, you just wave, or he maybe or maybe not, wave at him. But he's the 600th richest man in the world. His wife is the richest woman in Hollywood. He's up from nothing. He owns the Atlanta Hawks. Now you know his players, which he pays with his petty cash, but you wouldn't know him. You might walk right past Aron, and you might think Aron is a linebacker or something. I don't know for Falcons, but Aron is actually the president of the consumer bank. You can tell I don't really like this thing in my ear. Of the consumer bank for Bank of America, and he has, I'll make sure I say this properly, 42,000 bank branches.
4,200.
4,200. Sorry, I'm getting to 1,000.
I would like to have 42,000.
I know, but hold on, 70,000 employees.
Yes.
4,200 bank branches, 70,000 employees. But hold on.
Here it comes.
$1.2 trillion in assets that he's responsible for. Just as one man. And the brother next to him, who I'm definitely gonna get to know, not because he's the most powerful black man in Bank of America, the highest ranking, and the chief administrative officer will explain what that means in a moment, but because he's a Jamaican, right? A Jamaican immigrant who respects his mother. I'll get to that in a second. My mother's right there. But let's talk about the part that you relate to. You might say chief administrative officer, like, oh, what's that? Okay. The bank is $3 trillion in assets. The bank has 210,000 employees. That's it, 210,000 employees.
That's correct.
Rolling up from Steve, we're not talking about like the Black Affinity Group or something, or the public affairs group of urban America. No, all public policy rose up under Steve. The entire foundation. How big is the foundation?
We give several $100 million.
No, hold on, slow, wait. See, what happens is, when you're a rap star, you got one hit. You got 15 bodyguards, you got, like I said, sunglasses on at night, you're strolling through the club like you own it, one hit. My man's in charge of this entire foundation, the entire public policy, entire communications network. For a $3 trillion bank, he's got not a shred of jewelry, no watch. He's wearing $75 loafers. I saw that tie at JCPenney's last week.
Oh, man.
My man is chilled, completely chilled. He don't care what you say about him, what you think about him. He ain't arguing with you. He not flossing because he don't have to. He's rich and powerful. He moves quietly because when you've got the power, you don't need to use it. But when you talk to him about what's important to him, what he really cares about, he lights up like a Christmas tree. It's like, why? Why are you here? Why don't you just phone it in? I mean, Aron has to be here. He's on my board. But Steve, why are you? It's his mother. And his mother and grandmother in Jamaica raised him. And mom worked that graveyard shift like my mother did. And he took for granted that when he got up in the morning and breakfast was there on the table for him, steaming hot, that's just the way the world worked. What he realized later is that mom came in from that graveyard shift, made sure that breakfast was made for the children before she went to sleep, every day. His mother, unfortunately, has gone on to heaven, has been promoted, before he ever had a chance to show her what he could do. So he lives that legacy every day. He lives that legacy every day. That's why these conversations are important. You need to unpack and unveil and reveal not the what, but the how. Is this real? When you talk about what was important, you translated that experience in Jamaica and that modest home you had to the state of black home ownership. Why?
You know, John, when you think about it, and one of the things we didn't get a chance to talk about in the beginning, my mother did own a home, so I grew up in a home and I knew what that was like. And I have spent the better part of my life trying to create home ownership opportunities, from doing individual loans as a loan officer to running programs now where we can do billions and billions of dollars in loans so that we can create home ownership in black and brown communities. I mean, look, when we talk about this home ownership thing, because people, they hear and they, okay, you got a good program, and while, yes, we understand home ownership creates stability, we are affecting generations. If you want to create generational wealth, if you want to create economic empowerment, home ownership is foundational.
Yep.
So we have an obligation to do that.
Yep.
It's in our best self-interest, and it's in the interest of our communities.
Yep. So getting this done is aspirational because the current home ownership rate for black folks is 41%. Just to give you some context, if you're in white America, I think it's 70+%. Mm-hmm. So you got a delta, a gap that's gaping. And we're gonna have to see how you do on that. But I think you can look at what they may do based on what they've already done. So let me now talk to you about what you've already done. And Aron, I just found out something else which was pretty impressive about you backstage, but I wanted you to talk about that financial advisor program. I'm gonna get to that in a minute.
Okay.
The thing that impressed me out of everything else during the pandemic, during the social justice reckoning of black America, again, you guys didn't scream, you didn't holler, you didn't beat your chest, very quietly raised the employee rate for every employee at the bank to $20 an hour.
Yeah. Yep.
Everybody. Wait a minute. And then said $1 an hour a year until 2025?
Yeah, till we get to $25 an hour, minimum wage.
So that means every employee at Bank of America, this is the janitor, the counter,
yeah,
the
teller, yep.
Everybody will be a minimum of
$25.
Now everybody's running for the
right
exit,
applications.
Right.
Send them our way.
Where's my nephew Mason? $25 an hour is a living wage any day of the week.
$20.
So some would say, well, this must hurt your economic performance. This somehow impacts negatively your shareholder value. I love math because it doesn't have an opinion. It's just the math. I love these conversations because the numbers speak volumes. So the wrap, you can't do well and you can't do good at the same time.
Right.
You can't do all this stuff for employees and in the community and the foundation and expect to make a profit. You just had a earnings report recently. Let's talk about it. I'm sorry, you talk about it.
Yeah. Well, first of all, we were also the first to go to $17 an hour several years back. So this is now a legacy of moving
And
the
this is
minimum
Brian,
wage.
your CEO.
Brian, our CEO. So we got to 17. We quickly moved to 20, as you said, and we're very proud that we've now announced $25 over the next 5 years. We also then just put up probably the best quarter we've had, I don't know, in the history of the company practically. So you can, yep. And remember, this is on top of a whole host of things that we did for employees during COVID, of course, right? So extra daycare, extra support.
Whoa, back up. Repeat that again. Extra what?
Daycare.
Daycare.
We made sure what we gave, you probably know the number better than me, a million hours?
Yeah.
1 million hours of daycare, so our employees.
1 million hours of daycare? How does that work?
So employees who needed, they were home, but they might have, their ability to work meant they also had to take care of their children, so they could apply for additional daycare support or home support. We also increased a pay for the people who were working in the financial centers. One of the challenges, as you can imagine, for us, a big part of our company could work from home, but we had 4,000 financial centers that we wanted to keep open to clients every day. And remember, 30% of those centers are in low to moderate income area codes. So we have the highest percentage of any of the big banks that are in the low to moderate income areas. So we had to keep those centers open and keep our associates safe, keep our clients safe. We also gave everyone additional pay who had to work those times. So in addition to the minimum wage going up, we added additional compensation to everyone's paycheck, a couple $100 per paycheck. So a lot of things that we did. And then when you sort of play all that out, obviously our expenses went up during the time period, but what has, of course, occurred is the level of talent that we were able to acquire and bring in, new talent, very diverse talent. And so we're really proud. We had a program called Pathways, I think I talked to you about last year. We had committed to bring in 10,000 employees from low to moderate income zip codes over 5 years. We accomplished it in 3, so we already have achieved the 10,000. We just said we'll do another 10,000 over the next 5 years. So that'll be 20,000 employees from low to moderate income areas. So, but in the end of the day, what it does for us from a business standpoint, in the consumer bank, we have to serve 66 million American customers. You can imagine that represents every community in this country, and our ability to serve that community base means we need to have the representation of the people who are delivering financial advice, delivering lending advice, delivering small business advice, reflect the community that we serve. So everything we do has ultimately had a very big business benefit because we're serving clients better, and therefore they're giving us more of their business, and then you have an incredible third quarter even with the higher expenses.
Yeah, and so John, you touched on something, maybe not, I don't know if it was intentional. So Aron just told you everything that we've done in terms of financial performance, and then he also talked about all the things that we did for our teammates. Because we've done those things and you perform at a high level, it also enables us to do more for our communities. And Brian talks about this often. He talks about the genius of the and. We have to deliver for our
Genius of the what?
Of the and.
Okay.
So you have to deliver for our teammates. We got to deliver for our shareholders.
And?
We have to deliver for our clients. And we have to help empower and advance our communities.
Yep.
So let's use the pandemic. Through the pandemic, we delivered to minority and low and moderate income communities over 30 million masks. I'm going to hopefully get these numbers right. Almost 300,000 bottles of sanitizer, 8 million gloves. You know, things that we needed in our communities that weren't immediately accessible. So we were focused on our employees, we were focused on our customers. We also said we got to focus on our communities because we all just went through the greatest health crisis of a generation.
As we were agreed, and as we were talking, so my man Aron here is super competitive, like on everything. And so we're in the back, and I guess I'm giving Steve too much attention. I mean, first of all, hold on. Stand up. Hold on. Just come here. This is making smart sexy. This is what every black man in America should want to be. Just just smooth.
I'm gonna go home and tell my wife that I made smart sex.
Just smooth. He's leaving here and getting back on the private jet to go back to headquarters. So I'm talking to Aron. I'm sorry, I was talking to Steve about how great he's doing at this diversity, inclusion, whatever. And by the way, I met Steve through Aron. So I'm talking to him, and Aaron's like, yeah, but he's not as good on diversity inclusion as I am. My numbers are better.
Hey, facts are
I'm like, Aaron, I'm not
facts,
talking to you. Yeah, but my numbers are better. He said, Steve, aren't my numbers better? So tell us what you did.
Yeah, well, facts are facts, right? So facts are facts. You know, one of the things that Steve talked about this, one of the charges I had back in 2012 was to how do you build a financial advice model that's accessible to a broader set of clients, right? So people have more access to wealth management and investing. And then one of the biggest challenges of the wealth industry was diversity, as you know, right? How do you create the financial advisors of the future that are more diverse? So we built a program and a model that was a base salary and bonus as opposed to the traditional commission-based model. We created a way to bring in associates into the bank with an unregistered job, right? A job, effectively an entry-level job where you could learn the bank itself, checking accounts, saving accounts, credit cards, mortgages, traditional, and then created a training program and a development program that allowed anyone who was interested to move up, get registered, and sort of become a financial advisor, and not only work within the consumer bank, but many have gone on to work within our Merrill Lynch and our private bank with high net worth and ultra high net worth individuals. But you know, we were hiring on basically an annual basis, 60 to 70% of what we hired was diverse, and probably 50, 60% female. Mm-hmm. So when you start doing the math, 2012, 13, 14, 15, 16, all of a sudden, and then as those associates built their skill set and started moving up into new jobs, management level jobs, you know, our diversity, numbers that we track very carefully at every level increased. And so you not only had this amazing pipeline of talent coming in to serve our communities, but a group, an industry that historically had not been able to really create diversity. Financial advisors and wealth. We now had this amazing source of not only that we can benefit from, but again, I said our Merrill Lynch and private bank partners, and so that's carried through. So it's been a great story.
So Aron, one of the reasons I think that's so important is if you want to, now we're the largest economy in the world, the U.S. economy, 20 trillion plus. We're only 350 million people out of a world of 8 billion plus. So this is really magic in a bottle, what we have here in America. The fact that you and I could come from humble beginnings and sit here on this stage talking about the movement, control lever, influence of the levers of power to help those who don't look like us, and to sit on equitable footing with our friend Aron is the magic of America. That said, there's, of course, enormous challenges that we still face and are in front of us and behind us. The 2020 was nothing less than traumatic for all of us. In this environment, you're a role model and not just a leader. Both of you. You seem to have taken this on as a badge of honor, as a responsibility, not as a burden. In this economy, you've got minority neighborhoods where I grew up fixated on the success they can touch. The football player, I understand it. The basketball player, I get it. But there's only a few hundred of those jobs. The rap star, I get it. Chris Tucker was here last night. There's only one Chris Tucker. You can't scale that. But there's a farm club for professional sports. It starts in middle school, goes to high school. Then they pluck them out in college to the pros. There's no farm club for banking, for business, for engineering, for the things that drive that $20 trillion in GDP. There's no farm club. So not only as I'm hearing, you guys are being role models yourselves, what you're doing is putting institutional, I'm making this a statement, but I'm asking a question. This is what I think I'm seeing, but I need to understand whether this is what you're doing. You're putting institutional, a laddering system, using the bank's infrastructure, if I understand your example, to actually create a farm club, a fielding system, a pipeline, am I getting this right? Of talent, because now once people know you and can vouch for you and there's relationship capital, then they can take you into the narrower, higher income levels of, am I on point?
100%. Yeah.
No,
Is that happening?
You're getting it right. And there's another step to it too, because that's what we get to influence, but Bank of America is only 200 some odd thousand colleagues. So how do you continue to have this be sustainable? In response to some of the horrific things we saw in 2020, we came out and announced a $1.25 billion commitment. And that we wanted to address
1.25 billion is part of the
1.25, and it's above everything else that we do, right?
Good.
And it's about racial equity, systemic inequalities, addressing healthcare and education.
Okay.
And so the reason I thought about it as you were just talking is because a component part of that, to give you an example, is what we've done with HBCUs, and that's 25 million that we've given out of that commitment that have gone to over 20 HBCUs.
Fantastic.
So again, it's
Help
not
the
just who's
pipeline.
here, but you got to build the pipeline. Well, if you're going to build the pipeline, you've got to invest, and you've got to invest in these students.
And by the way, we're out of time, but
Let me say one more thing in
Important
this.
conversation, so we're going to wrap it.
So we looked at it two ways. We said, what's the minimum wage
Yep.
that you need to do to attract the best talent and make sure everyone has a working wage? But that is not enough by itself. Does everyone that we hire have a career path? And you have to do both things at the same time. So we can pay someone $25 an hour, but if 5 years later they're still making $25 an hour, you haven't succeeded. And so that's the key for us.
What do you want this audience to know about you and your commitment and Brian's commitment? Where do you want the audience to know you're going with this, and how do we hold you accountable?
Yeah. So let me start.
Oh, wait a minute. So when Aaron just pointed to you, and I said, "How'd you talk about accountability?" He pointed to you. You've been pointing to yourself backstage.
So, look, first, I think it's important because a lot of times we talk about a commitment we make. I just mentioned the 1.25 billion commitment. We didn't get to the community homeownership commitment and 15 billion that we're driving over affordable housing over 5 years. And I can keep throwing out hundreds of millions here and hundreds of millions there. I think the important part to know is it's who we are.
Yeah.
So we aren't making these commitments in response to any event
Started in 2017.
solely.
Right.
You heard where we started on the wage, right? We were on our way to $20 an hour before any of this.
Yeah.
We really do believe in this and. We believe that we can deliver for our employees. We believe we can deliver for our clients. We believe and have demonstrated we can deliver for our shareholders. And yes, we are making a difference by also making our communities better. And, like you said, we're out of time. We didn't get to talk about climate and environment. I hosted a conversation
We'll have you
with
back.
Byron Allen a few weeks ago, and we talked a lot about the importance of that. I mean, that's important in our communities as well. So there's just so much to unpack.
No, we'll have you back, or you can send the jet for me, and I'll come out to Charlotte. What you want a final comment?
Look, Steve said it so well. It is that power of the end. Our company's DNA is about making an impact on people's financial lives as well as our communities that we serve. So how do we make the most positive impact on individuals, on companies that we serve, and on the communities that we serve? And we do that in a whole host of ways, helping people achieve their financial lives, but also the way we give back and the way we're committed. And that's really what our company's all about. And I think that to put into that sort of statement of the power of the and, you can serve shareholders and the community. You can make it a great place to work, and drive productivity and have a very successful business. That's what we're all about.
And they're accessible. If you want to reach them, reach out to their offices. You'll find somebody who will respond to you. And they're doing Hope Inside. Ladies and gentlemen, Aron and Steve.